Welcome back. So let's talk paperwork. I touched on it in a previous video. How paperwork is handled, what paperwork you're going to have, and how I keep my paperwork in order, and all that stuff. So let's talk about paperwork and how long you have to keep it and all that stuff. I've mentioned before, Prime sends you your trip assignments, your loads on the computer that's in the truck. It's called the Qualcomm. They also can send them to you on your phone as an app, which I highly recommend. I mean, everybody has a smartphone these days. You're probably watching on YouTube on your smartphone. It's very easy. It's, you don't necessarily have to do it the way I do it in terms of writing stuff down on paper. But then you're not fumbling with your phone. So all the information is on the app. They released a new version of the app, 6-8 months ago, something like that, and it's much more detailed than it used to be. It has links to customer locations in Google Maps. So you go back and look at my trip planning video, it can quickly take you to locations so that you can find out where you're going. That being said, what I do when I get a trip is I put it in a tiny little notepad. These are the Memo Notebooks. You can get them at Walmart. I forget how much they are. They're not very expensive. This is something one of my trainers did. I had two different trainers that wrote stuff down. The first guy did it with a half sheet of paper, and then the second guy who wrote stuff down put it in a small memo pad. And I have kept the memo pad idea. They're cheap. It works. And so when I get a trip, this is what I write down. See how well we can show this. So what I write down, we'll start here. This is the trip number. So this trip number is 275-15122. Up here I write down the product. So that's my terrible handwriting that says SBO for soybean oil. Here's the trailer number, 337288. Here is my pickup information. And again, this is all terrible. It says Prydeck, which is Prime Decatur. It says Decatur, Indiana. Pickup date is 2/16 at 17:10. We use military time. Wait, I'm just noticing, is this all coming out backwards? I apologize if this is coming out backwards since I'm using my front-facing camera. And then I have the customer pickup number, which is right here, 2356060, which is an important piece of information. And then here's my drop-off destination, TMCOL1, which is T. Marzetti's in Columbus, Ohio, and the date and time is 2/17 at 09:30 in the morning. And then I write down how much I get paid. So for this load, I'm getting paid $41.42 as a fuel surcharge, $491.69 as the line haul, and the total reimbursement is $533.11. And then in the bottom corner, I keep a running total for the current pay week. So for this pay week, I'm at $2,240.05 thus far. So I keep all that information in here. And like I said, I keep it in this rather than having to fumble with my phone when I go and get my paperwork to pick it up. Now, when I pick up, it's a similar packet to this. This is not the exact packet because I've given the packet to T. Marzetti's since I've gotten here. It also included a sample, which is a small plastic bottle, which has a small amount of soybean oil in it that they use as their sample if they take it to their lab. When you get your paperwork, there's a couple of things that are important to you, and there's a couple of things that are important to the receiver. And again, since I don't have the paperwork you're going to pick up, the guy in there has it. I'll show you what I have. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what I have that I have kept. So the first thing I have is a bill of lading. This is short form of a bill of lading. All the information about what the product is, that customer pickup number, which again, I can't show you the same customer pickup number, but that's going to be the sales order number is going to be right there. That trailer number is going to be right there. The seal numbers are going to be important so that when I go and find trailer 337288, I'm going to check and make sure the seal numbers are correct. And again, that's just braided steel cable. It's got a little tag on it with the number. Make sure everything matches. I then have what's called a load tender sheet, and that's something that they keep. I want to make sure that the trailer number and the destination is correct. So the consignee is the place it's shipping from, and the sold to is the place it's going. So this one went from Bungie to Bungie. So Bungie in Bradley to Bradley. So this is actually the one that went from, I apologize. This is, so the Decatur is up top, and then you want this information to match. So it's going to Bradley. You want to make sure this address matches the information that you've been given. So you make sure that the address matches, the trailer matches, and that's going to be on the load tender sheet as well. You're going to want to make sure that you have a certificate of analysis. It's called a COA sheet. You're going to want to make sure the trailer matches on that. So in the case of today, the COA is going to say 337288. You're going to, same thing, you're going to make sure it says for today, T. Marzetti. And then the final sheet you're going to get, and you're going to get two of these. There are going to be two of the bill of lading as well. You're going to get a tank wash cleaning certificate. And Decatur Clean is the name of the tank wash that is at Prime Decatur. And what you're going to need to make sure that's checked off on here is that it has had a kosher upgrade. And then you're going to need to make sure it has last product. You're going to need to make sure the trailer number is correct. And you're going to need to make sure that it is signed by whoever washed the trailer. So, you've got your paperwork, you've got your sample. Everything matches on your trailer. You pick it all up, you hand it in to the people. They take care of it, you unload, and they're going to sign it. They're going to sign this sheet of paper, the bill of lading. And in this case, this person has signed it with the date on it, which was yesterday, 2/16, and then they reseal it themselves at Bradley, Illinois. And they give me one of the two copies of this back. They also give me one of the two copies of the tank wash. And you're saying, well, hold on, you've got 3 sheets of paper plus the notepad sheet. This top sheet is called a trip sheet. You can see some bubbles like you might have filled out in high school or college. And these are all how we get paid. So we have to scan all this information in. Over here it's going to be tractor number. So my truck number, then that trip number I told you about is going to be over here. And then this is relevant details about the trip. Just basic driver name. We have a driver code. It went from Decatur, Illinois to Bradley, Decatur, Indiana to Bradley, Illinois. Who were the customer? It was Bungie. Dates, trailer number. So all that is on this sheet of paper. And this is the first sheet of paper you scan when you scan your bills. You can scan your bills at any truck stop. There is a barcode that will tell the computer when you scan it at a TransFlow location where to send it to Prime. You can scan it with the app on your phone, or I can scan, we have a TransFlow device, computer scanner at Prime Decatur. So you scan trip sheet, bill of lading, wash ticket, and if you get a copy of a scale ticket, if the company has a scale, also scan the scale. You'll note I have my little notepad piece on there as well. If I get fuel, now this trip I did not get fuel, I staple that on the back. On the bottom of the trip sheet, it says, please keep the information, the confirmation receipt along with all of your trip documents for 2 months. Now, why do we scan all this stuff? Why do we keep it for 2 months? If you do not scan this paperwork and all of this paperwork, you will not get paid for this trip. This particular trip paid me $533.11. If I don't scan all 3 pages of this, Prime's not going to pay me $533.11 for doing this trip. So that's the first thing. That's the reason you scan the trip. Now, why do I keep it for 2 months? I keep it for 2 months in case the scan was not 100% good. They can't read something. The customer comes back 2 weeks later and says, I can't read, Prime might say I can read the bill of lading. The customer might say, well, there's something on my copy of the bill of lading I don't like. Do you have another copy of it? Well, you're the only person who's going to have another copy of this. And they may have already paid you. And they'll come back and say, well, if you can't produce a copy of the bill of lading, your next paycheck, we're going to take $533 away because we can't prove that you delivered it because we can't read the bill of lading. So you keep this paperwork. It says for 2 months. Personally, I've been driving for 2 years, and I have every single trip sheet that I have ever done for Prime. Now, you may say, well, how do you carry all that around? I don't. I have this box. I purchased it at Sam's Club or Costco or one of those stores. It's a metal clipboard. Typically, I will carry the current trips bills in the clipboard on top. You can carry it around. It has 2 trays inside. I carry blank trip sheets. They're actually not blank because I went ahead and filled out the stuff that's the same every trip. My name, my customer code, my truck number. So I carry those for the next trip. I carry spare information on kosher certification for our trailers, which is another video I could potentially do. And then I carry my long form of my DOT physical. And I carry any receipts for the current month. So here is an invoice from the Prime shop for something that I had done. So that's all in the top tray. Then this folds up, and there is a large bottom portion. And this large bottom portion has every trip that I have run thus far for the month of February. So if at any time in the next week or so, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, Prime gives me a call and says, can you rescan one of those bills from February? It's in this metal container. At the end of the month, the end of February, I'll take all of these out, and I have a filing cabinet at my house, and that's where the rest of the 2 years worth of bills are sitting, is in that filing cabinet. So that's my paperwork video. There's a lot of paperwork. It stacks up. I mean, like you said, that's a little bit more than half of a month, and it's about that much paperwork, so you can figure what 2 years worth stacks up to. So make a plan for that once you have a truck, someplace to put your paperwork. Don't just throw it around in your truck, because you're going to be sad one day when you have some load that some customer couldn't read, and all of a sudden you have to be digging around your truck for, where did I leave the paperwork for this? So try to be organized with your paperwork. So there you go. Video on paperwork. There's a lot of it. It's important stuff. You're not going to get paid if you don't handle your paperwork correctly. And scan it on time. There's actually a bonus if you scan paperwork in a timely fashion. If you don't scan paperwork in a timely fashion, they're going to get on your case, because the customer is going to pay for their product, but they want their bills sent to them in a timely manner. So make sure you get it taken care of. Thanks for watching. Click on the link in the description if you want to come to Prime. The link will take you right to the application, so you don't have to go searching for it. We'll talk to you again in another week's time. Talk to you later.